You know, the biggest battles you'll ever fight, the ones that really truly determine your success or your failure, they aren't fought out there in the world. They're won or lost right inside your own mind. And there's this piece of ancient wisdom that just nails it. It's the whole foundation for what we're talking about today. It's simple, but it's so profound. You are what you think. What's going on inside your head is a direct preview of what's going to show up in your life. So that leads to a really important question, right? If our thoughts literally create our reality, what happens when our thinking is, well, broken? What if the very thoughts we depend on are actually the invisible bars of a prison we've built for ourselves without even realizing it? And this gets us to our first big idea. Everything in your external world, your career, your relationships, how much you achieve, it's all just a mirror. It's reflecting the belief system that's running the show inside your mind. The battle for your life, it's really the battle for your mind. So let's get on the same page about what mindset even is. This isn't just about thinking happy thoughts. No, a mindset is way deeper than that. It's like the internal software that acts as a filter for how you see absolutely everything. It tells you what's possible for you, and this is the crucial part, what's impossible for you. Okay, so if this mindset thing is so powerful, where in the world does it come from? I mean, we're not born with it, right? It gets built, piece by piece, a lot of the time without us even noticing. So let's pull back the curtain and look at who the main architects of your mental framework really are. And it really boils down to three major sources that have been writing the code for your mindset your whole life: your culture, your past experiences, and your associations, the people you hang out with. First step is culture. Think of this like the air you breathe. It's just there. The history of your country, the unwritten rules of your community, all of it is subliminally programming you with a set of limitations. We just soak up these ideas about what people like us can and can't do, and we almost never stop to question it. Then there's your own personal history. Every single failure, every time you got rejected, every time someone told you no, it didn't just disappear. It built a memory. And those memories team up to become this powerful little voice in your head that's always whispering, hey, remember what happened last time? Yeah, this isn't going to work out for you. And finally, your associations, the people you spend the most time with. You've heard the saying, right? If you hang out with 5 wise people, you'll be the 6th. Well, guess what? The opposite is just as true. The fears, the complaints, and the limits of your inner circle, they have a sneaky way of becoming your own. Now, when you mix these three things together, culture, past experiences, and associations, they create what our source calls an ancient stumbling block. It's this invisible internal barrier that can completely sabotage your progress. It's like you inherit these mental factory settings that define your limits before you even get started. And this is the real kicker. The thing holding you back usually isn't a lack of talent or opportunity. It's this deep-seated belief programmed right into you that just says, nope, that's impossible for me. It's a ceiling that we put on ourselves. So you've got this conflict, this tug of war happening inside your head. On one side, you have that old programming, that voice saying, you can't do this, you're not enough. But on the other side, you have this message of absolutely unlimited potential. The whole battle comes down to one thing. Which voice are you going to listen to? All right, so we've diagnosed the problem. But here's the amazing news. Your mindset is not set in stone. It can be reprogrammed. So let's get into the good stuff, the active process of rewriting your own mental code. Let me tell you a quick story that shows how this works. As a young man, the author wrote to a bunch of potential mentors, just hoping for a little guidance. He got just one reply. It was a handwritten letter from the late, great Dr. Miles Monroe. And the message inside? It was so simple, but it changed everything. Never, ever limit yourself. That one sentence started a chain reaction that began to overwrite years of limiting beliefs. So how do you do this? Well, one key strategy is something called a spiritual quarantine. And no, it's not about hiding from the world. It's about incubation. Picture a tiny little seedling in a greenhouse. It's protected from the wind and the cold. It's given the perfect environment to grow strong. That's exactly what a spiritual quarantine does for your mind. It gets you away from all the negativity so you can just soak in empowering, faith-filled words until your new belief system is tough enough to make it on its own. And let's be really clear. This is not about faking it till you make it. It's not about just putting on nice clothes and hoping you'll feel successful. Your first and most important job is to do the inner work. It's to walk on your mind, to transform how you think. When you get that right, the outer reality has no choice but to follow. And this is where the rubber really meets the road. Once you start changing your mind, you have to practice thinking beyond what you see around you right now. You've got to let your mind travel to your destination long before your body ever gets there.
Think about it like this. Joseph was physically stuck in a prison, but in his mind, he was already on the throne. Esther was in a foreign land, but in her mind, she was already in the palace. And the same principle works for us. You might be walking home from work today, but in your mind, you can already be driving the car you're believing for. You have to see it on the inside before you'll ever see it on the outside.
There's this incredible story about an eagle that was raised with a bunch of chickens. For years, it just pecked at the ground, clucked, and acted like a chicken because that's all it ever saw. But one day, it looked up and saw another eagle soaring high in the sky. And in that instant, just by seeing what was possible, something clicked. It realized its true identity, and it took flight. Sometimes all we need is a new picture of who we were created to be. So how do we make that eagle moment stick? Let's boil this all down into a few practical principles for building a champion's mindset. First, you've got to know that someone else's success is not the reason for your failure. The sky is big enough for everyone. Second, you have to acknowledge the good things in you. Start paying attention to your strengths. Third, build up your mental strength so you can survive the early days. All great things start small, so don't give up in the beginning. And finally, stop wasting time arguing with critics. Just focus on your work. The celebration of your results will be all the answer they ever need. Look, your mindset is telling you a story right now about who you are and what your life can be. So I'll leave you with this question. Is that the story you want to live? Because the beautiful thing is, you have the power to pick up the pen and change the narrative, starting today.